All right, the big question this evening is Team Anna's poll of politicians credible? Well, let's just get it from one of the people directly involved by that, Manish Sisodiya, a key member of Team Anna. Manish, who did you employ to get this poll done?
You see, this is a referendum done by volunteers itself.
You're calling this you're calling this a referendum. Okay. You're not calling it a poll. You're calling
that's
it
right.
Okay.
No, it's not poll. It's not a survey. It's a referendum where people in that area, residing in that area, volunteered to talk to people and get the survey form, get the referendum form filled by them. And the question was very simple, that if politicians, if your MP sitting in parliament doesn't listen to Anna's voice, would you vote him again? If he doesn't support or she doesn't support the bill being proposed by Anna ji, would you vote for him next time? So you see the result is there. So it's not a work done by some employees or some professionals. It's a work done by ordinary citizen of this country.
But Manish, isn't that the real concern, that we all believe in the power of the ordinary citizen, but doing a poll is an extremely complicated exercise. Are these volunteers of yours sufficiently trained to carry on this task?
Why not? I mean, this was a simple question was being asked, and it was written on a paper, and everybody in the market, on the railway station, in the park was being questioned on this question paper, that itni si baat hai, aap kya kehte hain? And everybody used to say ki main dunga ya nahi dunga. There are people who have said yes, still I'll vote. But majority or maximum of the people said no, I won't vote for the MP if he doesn't support this bill.
The reason I'm asking you that question, Manish, is because for the last several decades, NDTV has done so many polls, and we realize the benefits of polls, the disadvantages of polls. Dorab Supariwala is somebody who's been very closely associated with this entire process. Dorab, one question in a poll, it's being called a referendum. What's wrong with that?
Vishnu, the question is that it's not a question, it's a leading question. Firstly, the question, is the sample representative? There's got to be representation within the sample. You can't just do a poll amongst anybody. Were the people registered voters? Did you have a right amount of men and women? Did you have a right number of upper caste and lower caste? Did you have, were the interviewers supervised? These are all the kinds of things that we do. And a big sample, it's a huge sample, 10 lakhs, it's not bad. But let me give you an example of a sample of 1 crore. A publication called the Literary Digest sent out postcards to its subscribers as well as to people who own telephones and automobiles in America. 2.5 million cards came back in the 1936 election. And who was the winner? Alfred M. Landon, who nobody's heard of, because he wasn't beaten. He was humiliated. Now the question is, you have to have a representative sample. Look at the question. Will you still vote for your MP if he still does not turn up? Is that the way to ask a question? What I would have asked, a simple question like, have you heard of the Lokpal bill? Okay. How many versions are you aware of? Who's the person behind his organization? Tell me the top 2 or 3 things, or each of the organizations of the bill, which is the best, and which are the factors you would take into account while voting, if you wanted a random answer. Now again, in most cases, the answer is over 90% are in favor. A market researcher in India sees a figure of more than 60, he enters himself into the hospital because he knows there is some cheating. We are terrified of numbers of 60 because nobody ever gets 60 in a multi-party contest. We are terrified. We would repeat the fieldwork, or we say, call the agency, what happened? Now let me say one thing. This poll actually is conducted for a very reasonable reason, as far as Mr. Sisodiya is concerned, a good reason. It's propaganda. What I would have done is asked a question like, do you support Anna's bill? Because the advantage of that is that cannot be tested in any way. Now the poll that you've done says, will you vote for Rahul Gandhi or not? Rahul Gandhi won last time with a majority of 3,33,000 votes. If he were to decide to step down and stand again and win, where is the credibility? The whole edifice. I mean, you should have asked a question like, do you support Anna's bill, and closed this, because that cannot be tested. You've gone and asked a question that can be tested. Once you open a test, I mean, Mulayam Singh Yadav with a majority of 1,85,000 in Mainpuri, an assembly seat. If he stands again, you think he'll get 0.5% of the vote, as your poll suggests? Mrs. Gandhi had 3,70,000 voters, majority of 3,70,000. If she decides, okay, I don't agree with Anna's bill, I am going for the government's bill. You decide, the people decide who you want to vote for. Do you think she'll get 0.5% of the vote? Why take this risk unless you have to? I think this is a risk that the team Anna hasn't thought about and taken this risk. A much simpler question would be, do you support Anna's bill, yes or no? End of story. Then if you say 90%, there's nobody can question you. How do they question you? They don't know anything better.
Okay.
Now you put yourself in the lion's den for no reason.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone. Fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. ndtv.com/apps.